Towards the end of this year, I will have been on this platform for 10 years. It's just terrifying. But I thought this would be an appropriate time for me to make a video offering some advice to photographers who want to start a YouTube channel, or perhaps who already have a YouTube channel and would like to progress. So there is no doubt in my mind that without YouTube, I would not be where I am today. I would be completely unknown, because 10 years ago, nobody knew my name, nobody saw my photographs. Maybe I'd get a few hundred views on Flickr, but that was it. Now I had a dream of traveling the world, photographing landscapes for a living, publishing images in magazines and books around the globe, and living this adventurous vagabond lifestyle. And actually, if I step back and look at my life, it's not too far off. And that is all 100% down to this platform. So how would photographers benefit from having a YouTube channel? Now, I'm not saying that all photographers should have a YouTube channel, far from it. Like landscape photography in particular, it's a very intrinsic thing, it's a very personal experience, and you might not want to pollute that with the pressure of sharing every single aspect of what you do. So if you do landscape photography for very personal reasons, then keep it that way. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you want to grow an audience and have your work viewed by many more people from around the world, then a YouTube channel has to be one of the most powerful ways of doing that. Because not only do you share your work, you share yourself. You're sharing so much more than just an image. You're sharing an entire story around the image. You're sharing helpful tips and advice. You're inspiring people, and people are getting to know the photographer behind the image. So your work, your photography, not only gets an audience, it gets an engaged, captive audience. And I think there's so much more value in that than perhaps in some cases where people just see an image on a screen and they might say, wow, that is an incredible image. But then they move on. They lack that connection with the photographer, the artist behind the work. And that is where YouTube comes in and creates that powerful connection. Now, once you have a captive audience, of course, you're then in a position to be able to make a living and effectively live your dream, just like I'm doing. Get out, do what you love, and make that your living. And it's a beautiful thing. As much as I whinge and moan on this channel, it's a beautiful thing. All right, let's just jump into the meat of this. Some tips and advice for photographers out there who either have a YouTube channel and want it to grow, or are thinking of starting one. The first thing I would say is it's never too late. I started my channel when I was 30. As I explained earlier, I was nothing, nobody, no one knew who I was. Now, I think that you're never too old and it's never too late, because the audience for photography, especially landscape photography and wildlife photography, it's a more mature audience. YouTube is not a young person's game. Far from it. My mum and dad are never off YouTube. My wife's parents always watching YouTube. Everyone's got their favorite YouTuber, no matter how old they are. So if you're sat there and you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, and you're thinking, oh no, I'm too old for YouTube. It's for the kids. It's not. It is not at all. So I can't stress this enough. You don't have to be cool. You don't have to be young and hip. You can start a channel no matter how old or how late you think you are to the game. This next piece of advice is my most important piece of advice, and one that I give to every photographer who I chat to who's talking to me about YouTube. And this advice, I never hear it anywhere. So you could think of this as an exclusive. Well, I'm sure it's not, but I certainly don't hear it enough in the creator space. And that is to distinguish between what is a photography shoot and what is a video shoot. What I mean by that is if you want to go out and make an in-the-field YouTube video about your photography, you need to tell yourself, this is not a photography shoot. This is a video shoot. That little switch, that mindset switch, is incredibly valuable. Now, the way it works is that if you're thinking I'm out on a photography shoot and I've got my camera, I'm going to take some landscapes, and whilst I'm here, I may as well make a video. What's going to happen is you'll probably begin the video recording when your camera's set up, and you'll share a few behind the scenes images, a bit of B-roll, and then the photograph. The problem with that is it's not captivating, it's not engaging, you're missing so many opportunities. Whereas if you'd woke up in the morning, picked up your camera bag and said, right, today is a video shoot, not a photography shoot, you're then in the frame of mind to start telling so much more of the story. The video shoot doesn't begin when the camera's set up on the tripod. The video shoot begins perhaps the day before when you're being inspired or checking the weather to go out and shoot. You're thinking about how can this process, how can I help the viewer? How can I do the very best to share this experience that I'm having when I take this image? So when you think from a video creator standpoint, you're almost stepping back and you're looking at the bigger picture. You're editing the video in your mind long before you get the camera out of your bag to take photographs. So just having that mindset switch of I'm here to do a job and that job is to make a video, it's huge. You'll have a far better product at the end of that day. Now, it's not easy. It's not easy. You've got to work hard. You've got to work very hard. When you're there and you're on that video shoot, it's non-stop. Get the B-roll, get the different camera angles, tell the story, share your feelings, get everything, give yourself to the viewer. And that is difficult when you first begin, because what will happen is it will distract you from your photography and your images may well suffer. And you'll feel it. You'll be like, oh man, I feel like I missed some shots today. It was awkward. I was all over the place. And the way I would describe it is learning to drive a car. When you learn to drive a car, your head's all over the place. You're constantly thinking about your mirrors, what's behind you, what's to the side of you, clutch, changing gear, all of that kind of thing. But as you'll know, once you begin driving regularly, it just becomes second nature. You don't even think about it. Well, making videos around your photography is exactly the same thing. You just become accustomed to it and you don't think about it. And when you get into that flow state, you'll begin to realize that the video side of things absolutely does not impede your photography. If anything, it sharpens your photography because you think, okay, is this image worth taking? Because if it is, I'm gonna have to shoot 20, 30 minutes of video around this image. So is it worth it? And as a result, you're more selective and you actually take better photographs. So the next time you go out on a photo shoot, ask yourself, is this a photography shoot or am I going out to make a YouTube video? And with that question, you will have two completely different experiences depending on which way you answer. The next piece of advice is very common and you will hear it a lot, and that is just consistency. If you're gonna start a YouTube channel or continue and want to grow a YouTube channel, you have to commit. And I would recommend committing to 1 year's worth of weekly uploads. So that's 52 videos. If you can commit to 52 videos, then you have a good chance of then continuing on and succeeding. Now that's not easy, but if you love what you do, it's a heck of a lot easier than doing something that you don't enjoy, which nicely brings me on to the next piece of advice, which is to do YouTube videos for the right reasons. Now that's going to be different for everybody. I would say if you're doing YouTube specifically to make money, then photography, landscape photography in particular, is not a good niche to be in. It's got a pretty low ceiling. You know, you might want to do health and fitness or food or motor vehicles. They have much bigger audiences, or finance, anything. You can make a lot of money doing that, I'm sure. So if you're doing photography, it has to be because you're passionate about photography. And if you are passionate about photography, then you won't get sick of making YouTube videos, especially if when you go out to make a YouTube video, you do it to serve the audience. Don't chase algorithms, don't chase views, just ask yourself one question. How can I add value to the person watching this video? Now that value can come in the form of inspiration, entertainment, comedic value, or education, anything. Lots of different ways to add value. But if you're going out to make a video to either make money, get views, like maybe you've seen a video, there's a trend and there's a thumbnail and it's blowing up and you think, I'm gonna make a video just like that with that title and that thumbnail and it's gonna get loads of views. I just wouldn't bother. I would just think, how can I serve the audience? And that foundation of serving the audience will set you up beautifully for a long and sustainable career on this platform. Now, it's difficult, but try not to worry about views, try not to worry about making money straight off the bat. All of that will come providing that you're adding value to the people watching your videos. And it's also really important to have realistic expectations. Like, I'm never going to get 1 million subscribers, I don't think. I'm just not on track to hit 1 million subscribers. Maybe in gosh, 15, 20 years or something. And I think that's okay because I don't have ambitions to be a millionaire. I don't have ambitions to become world famous. My only goal with this channel really is to make it sustainable. I've always said that. I would much rather have steady growth like this than bang, a big spike and then all over the place. Like for me, just consistency, chipping away one bit at a time over a long period. So if you're new to this, man, you need to be looking at least 1 to 3 years before you're going to see any returns. And when I say returns, I mean consistently high views, some good income, and well, yeah, having a loyal audience that you connect with. It does take time, but it's completely worth it, absolutely. So once your channel starts to become successful and you start getting consistent views and consistent numbers, then you may have the opportunity to take on board sponsorships. Now, hands up, this video is sponsored, but the advice I'm going to give you is relevant, and that is to only consider sponsors who are relevant to your audience, sponsors that can actually help your audience. Like, it's no good me having this channel sponsored by a bed company from your mattresses, because like, who cares? So in this instance, this video is sponsored by MPB. And now I'm going to do my bit, but MPB is a place where you can buy, sell and trade your used gear. So perhaps you're watching this video and you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel or beginning to take your YouTube channel more seriously. So you're going to want some new gear or some used gear at a much lower price than it being brand new. Well, MPB have a wide range of cameras on their website, cameras and lenses to choose from, where you can go and buy used gear. You can also sell them your gear if perhaps you want to upgrade. It's dead easy. Drop in the camera, make, model, its condition that it's in, and they'll send you a quote. If you're happy with the quote, they'll send you a shipping label. You ship the camera off, assuming all is as you said it was. They'll pay you in like a day or two. It's a really fat-free way of getting rid of your gear, or perhaps you can just do a straight-up trade. So if you want to check out that, go to mpb.com. You see, a relevant sponsor, so it doesn't disrupt this video too much. Okay, so another piece of advice that I would give to a photographer beginning a YouTube channel or who's new into having a YouTube channel, and that is to pick a niche. Of course, pick a niche, but don't be afraid to mix it up. Now, what I've noticed with my videos, if I have 3 or 4 videos on the trot that are the same, so let's say, for example, I go to Iceland and I release 4 videos from Iceland, the views consistently, week in week, go down, 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 down. This happens all the time, and what this tells me is that the audience wants variety. So if you can mix it up as much as possible whilst maintaining your content within that niche, you know, and you can branch off from the niche. So my niche is landscape photography, but I'm not afraid to branch off and do wildlife or a bit of urban photography or a gear review or a video like this about YouTube, so long as it's all still, you know, strongly connected to that landscape photography niche. And I find that by mixing it up and dropping an in the field video one week, a review video the next week, back in the field the other week, a road trip video the week after that, a travel video the week after that, then it just keeps things fresh. It's all still within my niche, but it's not repetitive. Think about how you can vary your content as much as possible whilst still keeping it neatly wrapped up in that bubble. Now, this wouldn't be one of my videos if we weren't to go ahead and look at the negatives with having a YouTube channel. Now, the negative that I'm going to talk about is one that I'm sure affects a lot of people, and that is it's placing your personal self-worth on your YouTube channel, right? When I release or upload a video and it does not perform well, it's horrible. It's a horrible feeling. Even if I know the video is good and the video is original and it's the best content I've made, if it doesn't perform well, it absolutely ruins my day. It can ruin my week. Every time I get a video that's way below average, I think, well, this is it. This is the end of my channel. It's all over. I've got no control. What was I thinking? And trying to control that negativity and those negative thoughts, it's a difficult thing to do. It's something that I'm working on every day, always trying to get better. And it's fairly recent. Like, for many years, I had slow, steady growth, consistent growth. And then I believe in, 2021, I think it was beginning of 21, there was a noticeable, obvious crash in my channel where overnight views halved. Why this happened, who knows? A change in the algorithm, a change in viewer interests, my audience, they're always changing and recycling, so the people watching my videos today are not the same as the people who were watching them 5 years ago, so perhaps I lost some people there. I don't know, but it was noticeable, and it was like the stock market crashing, and then it took a year to recover. 1 year, all of 2022, it took me to recover, to get back to the numbers that I was getting at the end of 2021, I think. It was a hard year, and I don't talk about it. I don't tell anyone about it. I just go on, plug away, head down, keep doing what I'm doing, keep those core principles about serving the audience, and just continue on. And thankfully, my channel has recovered and is just continuing that slow, steady growth. But just be aware, it's hard. Like generally putting yourself out there every week. And then, it's hard not to take it personally when things don't perform. So I would say my advice for that is to try and step back and look at the bigger picture. Don't look at how individual videos perform on a weekly basis. Perhaps look at your channel overall as it's growing throughout the time that you're doing it. And even if it's growing only a small amount, I would just rather see solid, steady growth with returning viewers. That's the metric that I would look at to see whether or not your channel is successful. Are the people coming back? If the answer is yes, even if it's not that many people, but they're still coming back, then that's fine. So if you found this video useful, I have a weekly newsletter. It's called the Photography Chronicle, and it usually takes 3 or 4 minutes to read it. It's just a few snippets, bit of advice, bit of musing, stuff that's going on behind the scenes, anything and everything really, generally around photography and around this YouTube channel. So you might be interested in that. You can sign up to that on my website. There's a link below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next week.